going on, my Super Sandwiches? Rhymestyle here, and today I'm going to talk about this upcoming Broly movie because I just realized I have not really talked that much about it outside of my tweets. If you follow me on Twitter, at Rhymestyle, of course, you'll see me toss up tweets here every now and then, especially when they have like new promos such as trailers. Like that New York Comic Con trailer, that was hype. I'm sorry, that was amazing to me. And by the way, if you want to see it, I can't show it. I mean, I probably could show it with fair use and stuff like that, but I'd rather not mess with it because Shueisha and Toei has been going after anybody that pretty much uses clips and even manga panels, so I'm not even gonna mess with it. So instead, in the background, you'll have some form of gameplay, but if you want to see the actual trailer that just dropped at New York Comic Con, I will just link in the description below. And at this point, I'm pretty sure you guys have all seen it. I mean, it was huge. It was so massive, I'm pretty sure every single one of you have seen it, and if you haven't, then, well, I guess join the club by clicking the link in the description below. Now, here's what I want to do. I figured I'll make this video right now to kind of talk about my overall thoughts about the recent trailers and the direction and go with the story. And I kind of want to do like a discussion with you guys as well. So in the comment section below, I need two things for you guys. Number one, how do you feel about the movie? This could be concerns, or what you're hyped about, what you're not hyped about, any questions you might have, in which direction you're going to take it. Anything you want to comment, feel free to drop it down below. Two, if you're excited for the Broly movie, if you're still hyped for, you know, what's happening over the course of the next couple of months as we get into the release of this movie and what's yet to potentially come, then feel free to slap a like in this video as well. And I guess we can kind of have a fun discussion down below and stuff like that. So how do I feel about this movie? Well, like I said, initially when they announced that Broly was coming back, I thought it was a troll. I mean, at any point, you can control the entire drama community by just slapping together a poster, slapping together a trailer, and toss it up online and watch people freak out. When they initially revealed Broly, I thought it was a joke. I was like, there's no way. They're not gonna do that. There's no way they're gonna take Broly and just retell the story. And they end up doing it. Now, here's why I wanted to give this movie a chance initially. If you guys missed my initial video I made a couple of months ago, I'm gonna see the exact same thing again. I wanna wait to see how they do it. I wanna see the execution of this. I wanna see what actually happens in the movie before I jump the gun and then try to, you know, basically say whether I'm happy or not happy with what's happening. Because it's kind of unfair to just basically judge something before it's released. For example, here's a good example. So initially, Goku Black was basically Evil Goku. When Evil Goku was first revealed to be in the series, nobody, well, I don't say nobody liked it, but a lot of people aren't happy with it because the whole Evil Goku thing was more of a meme that existed in the drama community for many, many years. And when it finally started happening, we're all like, really? Y'all actually doing that? That's gonna suck. Turns out Goku Black ended up being one of the most coolest characters in the entire Dragon Ball franchise. See, again, they executed it really, really well. Another good example I want to talk about is Frieza. You guys know me. If you've been on my channel since day one, or even on my channel since the past week, you see how often I talk about Frieza. Frieza is one of my favorite villains of all time. Not just in Dragon Ball, but in anime, period. And when they announced that Frieza was going to be the final word for Universe 7 in the Tournament of Power, I was like, don't! What are you doing, Toei? What are you doing, Toriyama? Stop it! However, turns out they executed it so well that they made me like Frieza even better. Again, jump into conclusions before seeing what they do with the characters. And unfortunately for that one's kind of tough because Frieza didn't really do anything until closer to the end of the tournament. So the entire time you're just sitting there wondering like, what's going to happen? The whole time you're thinking, oh, he's going to betray everybody. Turns out he actually ended up teaming up with Goku and it ended up being amazing. Like that moment was hype. It made the entire revival all worth it. With that said, it's easy to jump to conclusions and say whether or not something is good or bad before you actually see it. I mean, it's human nature. So what I decided to do is I'm just going to observe to see what the Broly movie does over the course of the next couple months as we get into the release. By the way, unfortunately, and I hope this doesn't completely ruin the movie for everybody, but there's going to be a premiere in November, which is literally a month away, and the actual premiere, which is going to be in Hollywood here in the US, is going to be December 13th. And the actual release is in January. So if you're not going to the premiere, you're going to have a buffer over the movie coming out in November until January, 2 months, where basically spoilers are going to reveal the entire movie. So it's one of those things that you're going to have to keep an eye out for, so just know that's going to happen starting in November and December, especially in December, so keep your eye out for that. Kind of sucks, but unfortunately, I mean, the nature of Dragon Ball is it gets spoiled with everything. I mean, we've had so many details already come out and so many more detail of what's yet to come, which I'm not going to discuss in this video just because you guys might have not kept up with the leaks. You know which leak I'm talking about, that big leak that is yet to be revealed. I mean, we don't even know it's true yet, but it's like 85% chance that that leak is happening. If you know that leak, what that is, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But the point is, keep an eye out for spoilers. Now, as far as the actual Broly movie, I am excited about pretty much everything. I feel like what they did with this Broly movie is they took everything that I disliked as Bardock, as me personally, like Dino Rhymestyle didn't like about this about Broly, and they removed it. They make his design better, they made his story better. Based on the trailers that we saw, essentially what they're doing is they're telling the 3 story of the Saints. If you guys remember a while back when they initially announced that the movie was happening, they told that this is going to tell like the history of the Saiyans, and that's exactly what they're doing. Initially, I thought, how are you going to do this without Goku and Vegeta? Because if you're doing the history of the Saiyans, you got to go all the way back. But turns out what they were talking about is they're talking about basically not like the early history, like when they had like the Plan Sadala armor, even though we saw that in the trailer. I'm talking about like when Goku, Vegeta, and Broly were born. So basically we have 3 destinies. So you have Goku, who we already know, he's the low-class warrior, son of Bardock, Kakarot, who gets sent off to Earth, and he bumps his head, which we'll talk about in a couple seconds actually, because there's a lot to talk about with that as well. And then ends up becoming a good guy, air quotes. No, he's a good guy. He's a good guy. Despite how Toriyama wrote him, he's a good guy. Then you have Vegeta, who's like the opposite spectrum, where he was supposed to be the next big leader of the Saiyans. And of course, you saw how that happened. He ended up basically being taken under Frieza's wing after Frieza destroyed Planet Vegeta. And then he ended up becoming one of the best characters in the series next to Goku. A good guy in the end. But initially, that wasn't his plan. And then you have Broly. And this is what I really like about Broly. Broly is the exiled Saiyan. And not just exiled, but looks like what happens is, based on what I'm seeing and the idea I'm getting off the trailer, is I don't know if Paragus didn't trust King Vegeta or if he didn't trust Frieza. They might have actually revealed that, and if they did, I'm sorry, but this is just me going off the top of the head. There's definitely some kind of sense of distrust, and because of that, he took Broly with him and he bounced. And he made a good call, because what happens next is Frieza destroys Planet Vegeta. Now, this is the big controversy. Have you guys heard about Dragon Ball Minus? A lot of you guys probably have, but a lot of you guys also might have not heard about it. What is Dragon Ball Minus? Dragon Ball Minus is I hate using this word. It is a canon story that Toriyama included in one of the Jackal volumes that basically tells the story of when basically Bardock and Gine, Goku's mom, sent Goku off to Earth. Now, the reason why people have a problem with Dragon Ball Minus, I personally don't care about it, because when I first read Dragon Ball Minus, I just didn't really care about it, if that makes sense. I know what I already grew up with. You know, to me, Bardock is always going to be that guy that went against Frieza by himself and his army, and then he ultimately ended up failing because, well, Frieza was powerful. But that was badass to me. This didn't happen, from what I was told and from what I remember correctly, this didn't actually happen in Dragon Ball Minus. We see Bardock and Gine send Goku off, and then Frieza basically essentially destroys the planet. And this is the big question I have, whether or not they're going to have the actual rebellion included in this movie. Now, based on the last trailer that came out in New York Comic Con, which again you can see in the description below, it seems that Frieza destroys it without any rebellion at all. And I can't tell if that's just how it looked, or if they decided to not include it at all. Now, as far as I remember, it's not in Dragon Ball Minus. Like I said, Frieza just kind of pops up, blows it up, and goes home. That's it. Calls it a day. But if you guys remember, most of you guys probably grew up with the original history, which is technically canon, because this is actually in the original Dragon Ball manga. We see Bardock come across Frieza and his army by himself. Even when Frieza first meets Goku, he says, "You look familiar," and that's when he remembers, "Oh yeah, you're the guy that rebelled against my army, and you know I bodied you." So I don't know how they're gonna do that. I really hope that they don't take that part out, because that is one of my favorite aspects of Bardock's character. It made him so badass, and what is he supposed to be, like a brilliant scientist or something like that in Dragon Ball Minus? I don't really know. It's like 2 different characters, if that makes sense. I don't know why they decided to do that, or I guess why Toriyama decided to do that. But again, I was not a fan of Dragon Ball Minus, and I just kind of ignored it when it first came out. And I still ignore it to this day, but like with it being in this movie, it's something you can't really ignore anymore. So I hope that they at least somehow include the Bardock Rebellion, because if they don't, it's just going to be kind of awkward. The other thing I was going to talk about is, what was I going to talk about? Oh yeah, now I remember. The whole baby Goku thing. Now, I actually saw people debating this. It's like some people were even saying on Twitter that Goku was never stated to be a baby in Dragon Ball, so it's not really retelling the story and changing and retconning it. Actually, it is, because in literally like the first chapter of I forget which chapter, but in the early chapters of Dragon Ball, I think it was Master Roshi who tells a story about how Grandpa Gohan finds a baby. Because remember, Goku was an angry kid because he had issues, I guess, being 1 day old, being sent off to the planet to destroy it. I mean, you can kind of get issues off that. He had issues, and what ended up happening is he fell off, he hit his head, and then basically his memories wiped out, and basically Goku started over. He hit the reset button that way. Now, in Dragon Ball Minus, and you see it in this trailer as well, Goku is sent off as like a kid. I'm gonna say 4, 5, 3, maybe years old. It's kind of hard to tell with the designs, to be honest, because, you know, you see how Goten and Trunks look right now in Dragon Ball Super, and technically they're supposed to be like 15, 16, 17. But they still look like they're 8 and 9 because designs. So I don't know exactly how old he is in the actual movie and in Dragon Ball Minus, but he's definitely not a baby. So how that actually affects the story, I mean, technically I guess you can still say that he was probably the same. He still fell and hit his head. But again, this is the big problem with Dragon Ball Minus, is it took a bunch of stuff that was already established and changed it, and it just doesn't really taste great with the fans. Like I said, for me myself, when Dragon Ball Minus first came out, I mean, I saw it, I read it, and I was like, well, I guess this is kind of cool, but I don't really care. Despite it being, again, I hate this word, canon or not, I just don't really care about Drama Minus. So I just kind of tuned it out. And to this day, I'm still going to tune it out. I really don't care about it. As long as you give me, you know, the epic moment of Bardock going against Frieza and his army, I'm okay with it. It's fine. Which I still think it might not happen because, again, it's kind of hard to tell. Because you know these teasers and trailers I made, they're designed to give you like a little bit of the meal, and then when the actual main encores comes, you're like, oh, they're doing it this way. So it's kind of hard to tell. And again, going back to what I was saying, when they announced Broly versus the movie villain, I wasn't a fan of it, and it's like, why should I not be a fan of it? Let me just wait and see what they do. So with that said, I'm gonna wait to see what they do with Dragon Ball Minus as well. But overall, though, everything I've seen in this last trailer to me has me super hyped. I'm ecstatic to see what happens. I'm ecstatic to see how Goku and Vegeta come together against Broly. I'm excited to see what happens with Broly's character. Some people are actually debating whether or not they'll keep Broly as a good guy in the end. Personally, I wouldn't want that because at this point, I feel like the whole idea of, oh, you're a bad guy, let's turn into the good guy thing is kind of played out, especially with how good Vegeta made it happen. And actually, technically, a lot of people. Boo did it, Frieza did it not too. The whole idea of let's take this big badass villain and turn him into an actual friend in the end, I'm not a big fan of, and I hope that they don't actually do that. Despite me enjoying Broly's character so far, please don't let that happen. Because, like, I can understand everybody else being kind of like, you know, turned into a good guy. Even Frieza, technically Frieza can still be kept in check if he does anything evil. Goku and Vegeta will just kill him. So he kind of has to realize that he, you know, he can't be a dick like he was before. But as far as, you know, Broly, I feel like it just doesn't really make sense of Broly. Because even just, then again, I don't really know because this Broly is completely different than one that we grew up with. Wow, I said that really fast. So I just hope that it doesn't happen. But what do you guys think? In the comment section below, let me know. Do you guys rather have Broly stay alive in the end of the movie or die? And why? Feel free to discuss that as well. But other than that, that's pretty much everything I want to talk about as far as my thoughts on the movie. It's been a long time since I did a discussion. Usually I just like to hop on here and play the games, but every now and then when we have something that's really big to talk about, I gotta hop on here and give you my own thoughts, whether it's with myself or with one of my friends. With that said, let me know your thoughts and everything. This is gonna be like a little bonus video. I actually don't know if I'm gonna upload this as a main video or a bonus video. I'll figure it out. I guess by the time you're watching it, you'll realize it. But other than that, just let me know your thoughts and everything down below. So if you're hyped for the upcoming Broly movie, feel free to leave a thumbs up. Let me know what you guys think about the recent trailer and the changes in Dragon Ball Minus. And also, please be civil. I know these discussions can get very heated sometimes. You'll see someone that says something, you disagree with it, and it turns into a Goku Vegeta brawl. Don't do that. Remember, the people in the comments are your family, despite you might not know what they look like or where they live or any of that stuff. But hey, they like Dragon Ball, so we're a big dysfunctional family at the end of the day. So be nice to each other. With that said, I guess let me know everything down below, and then we'll just take it from there. I don't know if I'm going to cover much news on the Broly movie because, again, I kind of want to, number one, keep myself surprised, keep myself in the dark, and just kind of experience it as a fan of the series. And two, I also don't want to ruin it for you guys. Like I said, there was that big leak that happened that I'm not going to talk about. And when that reveals, which unfortunately we're not going to be able to dodge, especially with the movie coming out in November in Japan, and then the premiere in December, they're going to be everywhere. So I just learn to navigate the internet, I guess, over the course of the next couple months leading up to the movie. But it's gonna be out there, especially with how Toei is known to promote their stuff. You're gonna see everything on posters, you're gonna see everything in like the summaries. It's gonna be out there, so just be ready for that. But other than that, that's everything, so feel free to discuss down below. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed today. My name is Rhymestyle. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.